So today we are going to work on our Jasper Johns number. So you'll just choose one number to place on here. It's going to be really large. And then today we're not only going to draw the number, but we're going to do some printing on the number page and the background. So we're going to have two pieces of paper. So this is a finished example, and I'll show you how to do the finished example to get to that point next week. But today we're just getting everything set up. So first things first, you're going to have two pieces of paper. I would immediately write your name, Mrs. K, and your class code on both. These are going to both go on the drawing rack, so you want to make sure you get both of your papers back. So my first paper is the one I'm going to work on drawing the numbers. So this is what the numbers look like. These are just ideas, but it shows you how to draw them, starting off with a very simple number. So the very first thing we're going to do is I'm going to draw a little really soft line towards the top here and then towards the bottom. Okay, because I want it to be pretty large. So mine's about 2, maybe you could have 3 finger widths from both sides. And then I can draw any one of these numbers. Okay, you may have a favorite number or not. It's totally up to you. So I'm going to write a number 7, draw it. So I'm going to have a 7 right in here. So I want to make sure I kind of center it on both sides. It's really large, taking up most of the paper. And then I'm going to do a block or bubble around it. So I'm going to kind of draw it something like this. So I'm going to use this top one here, this line that I drew, as a little guide. And I can kind of draw little lines around here. See, so that's the original. And then I'm going to go here. I'm going to kind of follow this. I'm going to add a little curve to it like they did. Then on this side here, I'm going to take that down a little bit and then draw another curve. So I'm kind of following their guide, but honestly, as long as it's a block letter, so a thick letter, then we're good, okay? So I want you to notice my letter is pretty large, okay? Now all these lines on the inside, you can erase those, and I have good erasers in your color bins, but that would be done, okay? And I can leave it like this. If it's sketchy like mine, if you want to go over those lines a little bit darker with your pencil, whoopsie, I moved my paper. If you want to do that, you can totally do that if it makes it easier for you, okay? So we're going to be doing, making like marks, like prints, so some sort of pattern texture on our letter, and we're going to do that in the background. So my letter's done. If I have lots of little marks, I can just clean that up now. Anything on the outside, we're going to be cutting this out, so I'm not worried about any of that, okay? Then you're going to get at your table. There's going to be a paper plate with some black on it, and I have tons of different textures and pieces that have letters on it, numbers on it. These have just a dash and a dot. I just happen to grab. I'm going to have some little cups we can use. So I'm going to have a texture on the letter, and I'm going to have another one on the background, okay? So my letter one, I'm going to choose, I'm going to have these dashes. So I'm going to take the part that sticks out, dip it in my black, and then I'm going to just stamp, okay? And it doesn't have to be perfect, but I'm going to stamp all over the number. And it is okay that some of them are lighter. I think that's actually kind of cool. They don't all have to be really dark, but I am going to leave some paper showing. So right now I just dipped, let me show you. I dipped that part in, okay? So I might want to take a paper towel just so I don't end up making a mess on everything else. So I kind of angled it a little bit more rather than keeping it straight. And that's fine if I make little mistakes like that. Still looks interesting. So I'm adding my marks on here, and I'm going over the edge, okay? Because it's going to be cut out. So I'm going to kind of look around, see if where there needs to be a little bit more. I think that looks pretty good. Maybe a light one there, light one there, light one there. So I like the dark versus light. And then when I'm finished, this is gonna go in the sink. I'll have like a tray for all the dirty ones and I'll clean those. So this is done. I know it doesn't look really pretty now, but remember we're gonna be cutting this out. So this is great, okay? So I'm gonna place that on the drying rack. And then I'm gonna get my second one. This is the background. I'm not gonna cut this or anything else. I'm just gonna add dots here. So I'm gonna choose this other one. So I have a little spot. They see how that sticks out. I'm gonna add little dots. And this time I'm gonna make sure I go all over the paper. Now my letter, or I shouldn't say letter, my number will be cut out and glued to this piece. So I know my number kind of goes right in there, so I want to make sure I cover all the spaces up, but knowing that some of it's going to be obviously eventually covered up. And just like before, I've got some that are lighter, some that are darker. I kind of like the difference. So I'm using the same one, but you don't have to. You can kind of switch it. So maybe this time I'm going to use my cup. So I'm going to kind of dip my cup in there, kind of turn it around so I'm getting paint on all sides, and I'm just going to press that down. And when I'm doing this, I'm just lightly pressing it, so I'm not crushing the cup. And if I go off the page a little bit, that's totally fine. We will wipe off our tables. So I'm going to go in there, tap it, overlap some. And I'm just going to the black paint every time I need more. I'm just going down. I'm not swishing it around. Just going down, making a print, just pressing the paper. Okay, so I kind of like the way that looks. Let's see. I'll have one here, maybe one there. And my fingers had a little paint on them. So you'll notice I made little smudges there. When all is said and done, those little smudges will be disappearing amongst everything else. So I am not worried about that at all. But if you want to kind of wipe off your hands a little bit before you take this to the drying rack, you can, or just be careful when you carry it over there. So we're just getting 2 of these done today. We're gonna draw our number, we're gonna stamp inside that, and then we're gonna do the same thing in the background. And then next week we'll do some cutting and shadows and all of that. Okay?